Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Honor the on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Max Loeb, Chef Zay, Jack O'Rourke, Pat McGuire. You can see setups a little bit different here, more conversational, even though there's not a ton to talk about Browns world. A little bit in the Cavs, a little guards, but off the top right away, guys. How are we doing? How's the week been?
As you can see, my pores are all the way open right now, so I'm trying to be as minimal as possible on this 90-degree heat in day. It feels like Florida. I'm kind of annoyed, honestly. But other than that, I'm
Wishing for this a month ago, though, I think.
not this.
I think this.
I want, give me 78 with a nice little... This, I don't want to get hour
That's fair, yeah.
and be
you start
like,
sweating.
and then I sit down and you just feel that one drip go right down your butt crack. Yep. You know what drip I'm talking about because it's the second that you get out the shower. So I don't like that.
How are you doing, Jack? Good?
I'm good. It's golf weather. We got out there a little bit under a week ago, did a little Honor the Land show crew day. Of course, thanks to Jimmy Hanlon. That was dope.
Shout
Good
out to
time.
Jimmy. Thank
Shout
you,
out
Jimmy.
shout out to Jimmy.
Thank Jimmy.
And yeah, guys, I mean, after I believe it was Zay, actually, my new head golf coach, told me to aim my legs all the way down the third base line and then just try and hit it straight and go right down the middle. I mean, we are making improvements. I'm excited to get back out there with you guys.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited to get back out there, too. I'd be remiss if we said Zay and I didn't the floor with you guys. But it's
no comment.
True, no comment.
Michael
No
Irvin
comment.
style.
That's all right. I'm sure we'll be back. We'll do a little rematch. But
Hey, no one remembers game one.
Pat,
that's true.
I mean, Donovan Mitchell averages 30 points per game in game ones.
Where is that going?
How's that going for him right now?
Gosh.
You're right.
Well, right off the top, we do want to talk about probably the most pressing Browns news right now. Joel Bitonio officially retired. I don't know about you guys. Was not expecting Joel Bitonio to necessarily come back for the 2026 season, but officially seeing it and realizing how long he had been here, the impact that he had, really just the different teams he was on, playing next to Joe Thomas, and then you have the 2020 playoff year, and now you have the past couple years. It's been a whirlwind with Joel Bitonio. I have absolutely loved watching him play. I feel like he's carried the identity of who the Cleveland Browns are at their best throughout the past decade. And honestly, I'm sad to see him go.
I think it was last season. I was on the Here We Go Brownies podcast yesterday, and I said Joel Bitonio's last year was literally the epitome of who Joel Bitonio is. You think back to some of the reports where weeks that his back was hurting so bad to where he had to miss some practices. He could barely stand up and walk, and yet he was still out there on every single game day. Like another Iron Man to go with Joe Thomas. You talk about having massive shoes to fill. You go Joe Thomas, Iron Man, to Joe Bitonio, Iron Man. That left side, Spencer Fano, you're going to have some big shoes to fill on that left side. But, man, seeing a guy like Joel go, another surprising thing with that, to see Miles even wish him a happy retirement, I thought was pretty cool. So it lets you know how much of an impact he had in that locker room for sure.
Definitely. I also think it's worth noting that after the departure of really a lot of players, but Joel Bitonio officially, Deshaun Watson, I believe, is now the longest tenured, I think, offensive Cleveland Brown. Yeah, offensive Cleveland Brown.
Denzel's still here, yeah.
Denzel Ward was there. But speaking of Grant Delpit, another thing that just dropped right when we were walking in here, interview with him. Obviously, he's in the building for mandatory minicamp, so he's not getting fined, but he does what a lot of players do in contract negotiations. I'm not saying this is officially a hold-in. You don't really declare those things, but if Grant Delpit's healthy and there's a new contract on the horizon, which I've talked about a bunch on here, it seems like a hold-in for Grant Delpit, which is 100% the right way to go about it, right? You go into the building, you say, I don't really want to practice because I'm still waiting on this contract, injuries, blah, blah, whatever. But, I need a new contract, and I think he's due for one. And I think if it doesn't happen, he could get traded, like we talked about with Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously Hickman's still younger. You have him, or no, he just signed, and then you took EMS in the second round. So you have two safeties that you're set with here for a while now, where it does make Delpit expendable, and he is a little bit older. I don't know. I mean, we talked about it a bit on last week's show, where I think we all kind of thought hey, maybe after trading Myles, the floodgates would open, and you would consider listening on a Denzel Ward or a Grant Delpit. And I am curious as the offseason develops to see if that happens. I think maybe not as you get moving on here. I think Jared Verse is a great addition up front. You still think that I think there's an internal belief with the Browns that they can keep this defense at least close to the standards of where it was when Myles was here. So I don't expect them to trade him. I think they'll get something done.
I also think they'll get something done.
Here we talked about when I was on with Jarvis as they slowly ushered out the old era and the old regime, like you mentioned, Denzel Ward being the only tender. Grant Delpit is an Andrew Berry pick. So if there's one thing we know about Andrew Berry picks, he more than likely would like to get the contract done. And I think Grant Delpit is one of the better safeties in the league. We can all agree on that. And you got a young guy like Emmanuel McNeil, who what better to get a mold guy or to learn from than a guy like Grant Delpit. I mean, Ronnie Hickman has took strides as an undrafted guy. So I think, and you see the strides Grant Delpit has taken every single year, it would kind of, I feel like you can handle some blows. It's already a massive blow losing Myles Garrett, but if you start taking away glue guys and guys who actually been in the system, and you want to have some sort of foundation, you don't want to lose guys like Grant Delpit or Denzel Ward. But you've mentioned it last year. It was a topic of discussion with us where we figured that Grant Delpit could potentially be on the trade block. Would there be a situation or a scenario where he comes up in conversations? What would that trade conversation look like? I don't really want to entertain it, but you did mention it. Is that still a realm of the possibilities for you?
Absolutely. I think it's weird because you mentioned Grant Delpit potentially being expendable. I think the talent of Grant Delpit is not expendable. I mean, he's probably the second, third best player on that defense. But at his position, I don't think it's crazy to say that he is, especially because you just drafted Emmanuel McNeil Warren, you have Ronnie Hickman. I don't know what those guys are going to look like schematically. You still need somebody to play inside corner. You still need somebody to play nickel between the hashes. And that was, I think, the worst position on the Browns defense last year. I don't know if they're going to try other guys. Maybe they got – who knows? But his talent is not expendable. His position absolutely is. And I think much like we talked about with Myles Garrett, if it gets to a point where the Browns start 1-5, 1-6, and there is no contract done this offseason, which I think there will be, then yeah, I think it has to become a conversation. Honestly, with Denzel Ward too. I know Denzel Ward doesn't want to be traded. The Browns have no plans of trading him. The Browns have no plans of trading Myles Garrett, right? Like that to me means absolutely nothing at this point. And I think when you look at where the Browns are headed long term, those guys are really important. You want to lock them down for years to come. But if you can't get it done for whatever reason and you start slow this year, you got to make the best business decision, I think.
I just think that you can't. I feel like you've made the moves that you're going to make now. You have to see what direction the season is going. Like, I just feel like like how everything is moving right now. We were talking about it before the show started, and I just feel like there's something different happening with this organization. And you asked me good or bad, and I think it's good. Like, we have similar scenarios in 2020 where we can go back, and 2023 obviously was a little bit different. But this feels like a team with a plan, and it feels like a team with at least some sort of destination. Now, is it the destination that we all want? Probably not.
Yeah.
But there is a clear vision that they are trying to build, and I think if you're gonna move from Denzel or you're gonna move from Grant Delpit, I think Delpit would be easier to move because you don't really have the luxury to move on from a Denzel. I mean, you got Tyson Campbell.
That cornerback room without him would be putrid.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you lose Martin Emerson in the offseason. You see what the backups are doing now in camp, getting absolutely head-topped every single play, it seems like. So what once used to be a really strong suit in the secondary is starting to look like it's a little bit more thinner. So don't move on from Denzel Ward quite yet unless you can somehow do what, I mean, the Tyson Campbell trade. I love me Newsome. You know you my boy. But that trade was crazy. So that's the type of trade that I would be looking at if they did make a trade.
Yeah, and ultimately, that trade worked out for the Browns because you look at Tyson Campbell, who I think we all agreed when they traded for him was a better scheme fit. But then on the other side of the coin here, I mean, I'm watching my team, the New York Giants, sign Greg Newsome this offseason. It's like it's a 1-year deal where we talked about potentially extending him for 3-4 back in Cleveland around this time last year, but like over a year ago. I mean, the Browns almost objectively, from a financial point, made the right decision there. Yeah. They upgraded. They made that trade with Jacksonville, and it's a team that they have a trade relationship with. But I do want to get back into the offensive world because I think that's kind of the main point of talking here.
Can you get one more on the defense real quick?
Yeah.
Just because I thought it was so cool that we got a Lowe's lead shout out with the Cleveland Browns and I believe NFL on Prime.
It was NFL on Prime. NFL on Prime did it, not the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, and they collabed it
They invited the Browns to
you
collab,
and the Browns.
No love from the Browns, but from NFL on Prime.
But from NFL on Prime
Browns,
for Jared Verse, which I agree. You put this tweet out. I think I was one of the first likes on it, so I was early on this.
Yeah.
V8 as a nickname for
so
Jared
sick.
Verse.
It's so sick.
So sick. But I wanted to ask you guys with that, and this is on the spot, so if you need a second or if you want me to go first, I can go first. What is your guys' favorite Cleveland athlete nickname of all time? If you want me to go first, I can, to give you guys a second to think.
Yeah, I definitely need a second to think.
I'm going to go personally, Pat. I feel like you'll be able to guess where I'm going with this one. No, I wish it was Sal Fasano in the Fu Manchu. Nothing for him today. Left fielder, my whole entire life growing up, Michael Brantley, had the nicest swing in the world, just Dr. Smooth. It's just such a nice nickname. Had the Rich Homie Quan walk-up song. I mean, that guy was nails in Cleveland.
I like that. That's a good one. Immediately, I think in terms of, like, I like nicknames because they talk about the way you play or the way you, like Mr. Smooth. That'd be
Dr.
a great
Smooth,
example. Jarvis Landry Juice.
Yeah,
First
Juice
one that comes to
is
mind
a
because
great
it
one.
brings the juice, like it's like powerful. That comes to mind.
Contagious.
You went basketball,
non-Brown ones.
you went baseball, you went football. Wild Thing. I mean,
one.
that is
Oh, yeah,
not-
Verjao.
You get the Wild Thing with the headband and the fro when you go to the games. That was, and they play the music.
Dude, I
all the
remember I
way.
went to my first Cavs game was LeBron's last regular season home game before he left the first time.
Yeah.
And they were playing Chris Bosh and the Raptors. So they ended up teaming up later.
Yeah.
But it was fan appreciation night. So they gave away like the fake like Verjao afros kind of. But I remember being like 5 or 6 years old and being like, is this like everyone's hairstyle? Like, is this just like what we do around here? Like, do I get a perm in a couple of years? But yeah.
That's great. I also think growing up in Boston, like thinking about the Cavs teams that the
Big
Celtics
Baby.
would consistently play. Well, Big Baby, I'm going Cavs though. Big Z.
Oh,
Chris
yeah,
O'Drunas
Z.
O'Galskis, who I've seen at church around here.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
you're kneeling in the pew and you can't even see the altar because
Yeah.
it's so tall in front of you. But yeah, no, Big Z is one that I can think of. I'm trying to think of what do you guys think current Cleveland athletes best name? I'm going to go V8, but I'm going to try to think of someone else.
I have one that is just, this kills me. And if you're listening, Isaiah Bond, or who wears 7 right now?
007.
Who is actively wearing 7?
Tyson
Campbell?
Campbell.
The fact that once they cut Hopkins last year, because Hopkins wore 7, I believe.
Yep.
The fact that Isaiah Bond, I know we don't let rookies wear single digits, right? Wasn't that Kevin's thing?
That was Kevin's thing.
We need Isaiah Bond in 007. He has to wear 7. Like, that'd just be the coolest thing ever with the
I
last
like
name.
the 0. I like the 0. I
He
love
goes by
this-
Agent Zero, I think now too. if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, you're not Gilbert
Well, no,
Arenas.
they
Like,
calling
you're James Bond.
They're calling them 007 in practice. That one, I don't remember what clip it was, but you could hear him say, "Okay, 00." Like that's what they riding over right now.
Because you can't wear 00, right? That's only basketball.
That'd be wild.
That'd be so sick.
that
That'd be
would
cool.
be crazy. Or have the 007 triple.
Yeah, three numbers on the front. Yeah.
I don't know though. There isn't many nicknames. I think on the Browns.
Worst one, Gavin Williams, Big Rig. Worst nickname of all time.
I don't think that's that bad.
It's
Big Rig. I kinda
Well,
like
it's
that.
just one. There's been 5 Big Rigs before him, so you can't. You're not the Big Rig, and then it's
Okay.
just. It's because like it's not even. Like, never mind. I'll get too deep. And no one's gonna listen, and everyone will be upset. I'm not doing it.
No, that's good though. That's good. I also do think Spida, just off the top of my head, is a pretty solid one. The celebration to go along with it.
Touchy subject right now.
It is
Is
the
it-
beard.
A little bit.
The beard it transcends time, but I mean,
Yeah,
Let me
it's-
call
that's a great phrase.
Calling James Harden the beard at what is he 37 in
Yeah.
Cleveland now? It doesn't have the same luster, but
He's an unk.
it did. You call him that 10 years
Grand
ago,
unk.
it'd be sick.
On
Yeah.
the Donovan Mitchell thing, since we're on that subject real quick, seeing what the Knicks are doing right now,
It
does
makes
it
you so-
make you feel any less of how they whooped our ass knowing that they were playing like this? Or does it make you even more upset that we thought that we were better than them? Or are we, like, where's your angle at if you're a Cavaliers fan watching this when we saw what we saw through the regular season? We had the expectations. You thought everything was going to work. You make the trade now for James Harden to try to do something. And then you're watching the Knicks destroy what we all thought was just hand the trophy to the West this year.
I mean, I think it's not even. We can go way more simple on it though. We can just zoom out the lens a little bit. James Harden said it himself. The Cleveland Cavaliers were the better basketball team across that 4-game series, right? They're about to win the championship. We're better than the champions. Just listen to James Harden. Like, we never been in a better spot as New York. But I will say, though, after watching the Spurs blow a 95-point lead last
that was
night,
nuts.
I do feel like not 10%, like 5% better about the Cavs doing the same thing.
The Knicks give Team of Destiny vibes for sure.
Yeah.
They deserve it. But the other side of the coin here is the fact that I believe it was within the last 3 minutes of every game in the series, it was a 1-possession game. Like, there's a chance, there's an alternate universe, the Spurs just swept the Knicks. Like, this has been so close. It doesn't really make me feel any differently because of how it's 3-1 Knicks now. But, I mean, if it was 2-2, I think it may be a different discussion.
So let's say
it's been so close.
Let's say the Cavs like somehow squeak that series out in 7, right? And let's say they're not playing amazing basketball, but they find like the Pistons series kind of like you find a way you push through. How many games do they beat or lose to the Spurs in? I think it's Spurs in like 4 or 5.
I would say 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do think the Knicks are better than the Spurs. Like I don't think it's like I just said the 3-minute whatever.
Big
it's been close.
man.
It has been close. We have not gotten a good series from Jalen Brunson. I know the points will say it, but efficiency wise, turning the ball over hasn't been great. Karl Anthony Towns been basically non-existent in the fourth quarter until last night. I don't even know how many points he scored, but he scored his first fourth quarter points. I believe last night. It wasn't in game 3, but he didn't score him in games 1 or 2.
Yeah, I saw that stat.
And it's taken some pretty bad collapses.
Dude, they just have like there's so much black magic stored up over the last like 30 years of the Knicks blowing everything. Which is the only way I can think of.
When Josh Hart missed
because Mike
last
Brown,
night,
as a Cleveland sports fan, Mike Brown was not the difference. I can tell you that.
No.
Mike Brown didn't walk in and.
I don't know.
I don't know. People
No.
underestimate
approach-
Mike
Why do
Brown.
all of our old coaches are just doing better?
The approach to the roster has definitely made a difference. The health of the Knicks has been better. I also
It's because
think
Tibbs
that's
doesn't
in
play
this
him.
album, too.
Tibbs not playing him 70
yeah,
minutes a
I
night.
think honestly, I think that comes down to OG Anunoby more than it comes down to a lot of people because he won with the Raptors. He's been there before, and I mean, like you saw the Mikal Bridges quote right after they won Game 2. We're like, oh, we can't take our foot off the gas. 0-0, 0-0, whatever, and then they lose Game 3 to the Spurs. Transparently, probably should have lost last night to the Spurs as well. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I have no belief that this series is going to be over in 5. I know that was my original prediction, but after watching the first 4 games, like the Spurs are going to punch back. I'd be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they won Game 5. I wouldn't be shocked if they took this thing to 7 either. Like, they are playing equally as good basketball as the Knicks. I do think the Knicks are the better team, though.
It all comes down, like, you know, Wemby is going to try to Wemby. Brunson is obviously trying to Brunson. But when it gets to these certain points and stages, like, you think about X factors and you think about games or championship series that have been altered by not the stars, like OG Anunoby, Sean Livingston cooked our ass, Andre Iguodala. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think of who else. Who else am I thinking of the year before? Bogut, Andrew Bogut. Like you think about all of the players that aren't the stars. Somebody on that Spurs team, whether it be Castle, whether it be Carter, whether it be Vessel, whoever it is, Champagnie, when he's playing good,
He played great the first couple games of the series.
Yeah, they're a different team when he's actually making those threes and expanding the defense. So one of those guys are gonna have to step up and not just be like a guy. They're gonna have to be the guy next to Victor Wembanyama because that's what it's gonna take to beat a team. Like you said, it feels like a team of destiny right now.
I think Stephon Castle's been awesome.
He's a dog.
I think it's taken, like I said, I don't want to call the Game 2 collapse historic, but Wemby threw the ball off, I think of his back, but throwing the ball off of somebody's back and then immediately fouling Jalen Brunson and then missing an elbow jump shot, which I'm sure Wemby would make more often than not if he was given the chance again. And then last night, like this is to me, it is a nearly dead even series. Like I feel like it's 2-2, and not just because of the collapse last night. I feel like it's 2-2, and I think Stephon Castle's been that guy. I think Dylan Harper's been really good too. He shot really poorly in Game 3, but last night he played better. He shot a little bit better. He's more confident. Like I don't know, they got the guys. I just think the Knicks guys are a little bit better, and the battle testedness, the fact that they've been there before. I was looking. In the Jalen Brunson era, they hadn't lost a first-round series, but it was a second-round series. Then they lost in the second round again, even though they won more games. And then I believe the next year was the Pacers' year, and now they're in the finals, and they're a win away from immortality, and they deserve it. I don't know if the fans 100% deserve it. I don't know if you guys saw them throwing eggs at Wemby last night.
They suck.
They was kicking the bus too and everything.
Yeah, it's just the passion is great, but it gets to a point where you got to draw a line.
I mean, it's not passion. That's just being insane. There's a
they're
firm
literally
difference.
trying to live up to the stereotype.
Honestly.
Yeah, it feels like it's all pressured things. Like, don't get me wrong. When we saw the Knicks do the microphone thing, the first like it was gold. That's what made it so great. Now you see everyone trying to get the clip in front of the mic. Like everyone's clip farming right now.
Yep, that's the world we live in.
Well, has New York not won since the Yankees in 2009? Is that the last one?
Giants. Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. In front of the
2012.
Giants fan. How embarrassing is that?
Well, I had to think, too, because it was 2000. It was the 11-12 season, so technically 2012. But
Still a while.
yeah, it's been more than 10 years, and I know the last time the Knicks were in the finals, I believe, was 99, and they lost. Yeah, they lost the Spurs in 99. So, I mean, the city's going to I don't even know what's going to happen. If the NBA has anything to say about the Knicks winning, it's going to be Knicks winning in 6 so they can win it in New York. But at the same time,
they're going to have to.
I say
the amount of grease that is going to be on those polls is like be unforeseen in human history.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane.
Did you see the G-Fed stuff?
Yeah.
The fact that a content creator has a stranglehold on these facilities and stadiums, it's wild.
It's nuts.
All he was doing was documenting the downtown environment at Madison Square Garden. And the guy, I don't know if it was like the director of the garden, comes up to him and is like, yeah, you can't be here. You're gonna get trespassed, and they banned him from all of it. It's like,
it's crazy.
I don't understand. All of the people that are doing wrong, you want to go after G-Fed? Like, give me a break.
That's
bro.
The story of our world today too. I think just highlighting the smaller of the problems. But yeah, I saw that too. I've seen all of the craziness around there. There was a legitimate barricade. I don't know where it was in New York, but a legitimate barricade. I also believe Game 4, the watch party got canceled out of the blue.
Yep.
Like there was.
That was where the fight was.
Oh.
So
okay.
Casey Neistat, OG YouTuber for those of you that know, he's back doing vlogs again.
I didn't know that.
It's he got me through some tough times a few years ago because he was uploading every day, and he's back doing it again. He obviously has his office in New York, so he did a little video on it. And they had the downtown closed, I believe it was 4 hours before the game, or 3 hours.
I did see that.
And then the park where he was trying to get to, you couldn't even get to the park. They had it all blocked off, and that was where that big fight where all of the Spurs fans were getting jumped was at that watch party.
Huh.
Such loser behavior.
Terrible. You think about and you it's funny you say that because you remember when Cleveland had their parade with 1 million people? There was 0 incidents when we won the championship. 0. The biggest thing that you could find was a guy eating horse shit from the horses on the side of the thing. That was the
happened?
That happened. There was some guy eating horse shit.
Like literal horse shit.
Literal horse shit off the ground. And that's the only thing I think I can remember from having 1 million people in downtown.
JR didn't have a shirt. That's all I got for him.
And JR didn't have a shirt. He didn't have a shirt for that entire month.
Yeah.
Literally on the golf course, no shirt.
Huh. Well, when I experienced Knicks fans here for Game 4, but when they were here, they were extremely passionate. It was not to the level that they have now. It's taken a different step. And it's weird. You're right. It's kind of like they try to live up to a stereotype, and I think that stereotype can be funny if it's reined in and controlled properly, but I don't think it is being reined in and controlled properly by any means. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network.
The biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every goal changes everything. And now FanDuel is giving you a reason to root for every single one. Introducing Every Goal Pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. That's right, more goals means more bets, and all you have to do is turn on your token. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay to get started now. 21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DC, Kentucky, Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat, Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org, Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050, Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY, New York. Call 1-877-770-7867, Louisiana.
Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. Max Loeb, Chef Zay, Jack O'Rourke, Pat McGuire. Mandatory minicamp going on for the Cleveland Browns right now. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about everything going on with the quarterbacks, from the media to the interceptions to the highlights, all of this stuff. I'll ask you guys, first couple of days of mandatory minicamp, what has stuck out to you? What is at the front of your brain that you want to talk about with any of the 4 quarterbacks? Because there are 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'll start with 4, if that's okay with you.
Please do.
I'm a massive Cleveland Guardian. 4, as you guys know, I'm a massive Cleveland Guardians fan, and I have always wanted Bryce Harper in Cleveland. Always. Let me make that clear. Yeah, now I do. We got Bryce Harper in town.
Yeah,
How about that? I mean,
exactly.
I my thing is, so if you're Deshaun Watson and you've known for the better part of a year and a half that at some point in time you were gonna have to answer a question about Jimmy Haslam calling you a massive swing and a miss, you gotta have a better response prepared than, yeah, baseball players they swing and miss and then they go hit a home run. What?
It is.
You thought that was a bar?
Yes.
Pat, you thought it was a bar too? I was gonna say.
bar.
I didn't think it was a bar. Honestly, I didn't.
It's a mini bar.
But I also don't know what else Deshaun
bar.
Watson. I think he made the most of that. Like, what else? Did you
Okay,
go
that's
say?
fair.
I hate
That's
my
fair.
owner?
I'll take that as fair collateral.
I don't know if I've ever seen. I shouldn't say. I've definitely seen more narrow view, but so many people so honed into what Deshaun Watson had to say because he hadn't talked since
2024.
It's 2024 since the
Achilles,
injury.
right? Yeah.
Since the injury.
Yeah, I didn't really watch too much of that.
No one asked about his wedding.
Really?
He's gotten married since then. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I wonder why nobody asked about the wedding. Right? The thing I saw in the media that I was, I don't know the right adjective. I laughed when I saw it, but it's this bit that the media does, and it's different people. It's not always one person or
It's one
group
of three
people.
Let's keep it above.
It's a group of people, but there is
The big three.
a bit that's done. I can't say every year, but moderately regularly because of the Browns quarterback situation where starting in April after the draft, maybe May, almost every day there's a question asked, who's the quarterback? Who's going to be the starter, as if the season isn't 4 months away. Todd Monken, dude, if you're watching this, I appreciate your attitude in the media already. Like, he was asked about, update on the quarterback situation, blah, 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 whatever. It was June 9th. So that's 3 months away, I believe, from the first NFL game of the season, but more than 3 months from the Browns. And he just laughed. Like, he had a smirk on his face. He's like, what are we, like, I can't sit here and keep watching 3 months out when mandatory minicamp has just begun, this conversation of, this guy should be the starter, that guy should be the starter. With all that being said, I do want to ask you guys, because I thought about this. When do you think is the best time to truly name a starter? Because I don't think it should be right before week 1, unless you're holding your cards and you don't want people to see who you're going to start. Maybe you keep it in-house. That stuff doesn't stay in-house. When do you think is appropriate for the Browns to announce a starter?
To announce it or know when the starter is? Because I think those are two
They
different
are two
things.
different times. Let's just say, I think in the media climate we're in, if the Browns truly know and have told, so let's say it's Shedeur Sanders. If the Browns tell Shedeur Sanders you're the starter, that's going to get out within a week. So give it a week buffer.
I mean, you should know who your starter is going to be either the minute before training camp starts, but once training camp starts, you should know who at least is the starter. And now if he gets beat out, that's a different story. Mm-hmm. But you should go in day one when fans are walking into the training camp and it's open to the public. We should know this guy's QB1 on the depth chart, because if Todd Monken, and they've been super transparent with their whole process.
Yeah.
If they are going to keep to their word and not distribute the reps the way that we've seen over the past few years, why would you go into the training camp still doing this? Well, one day Deshaun's going to get the ones and 12. No, it's time to implement. Now we're not installing anymore. Yeah. We're actually getting ready for the season, because next month we've got football and we need to get as many reps as possible so we can come out running and not be slow because this guy didn't get no. There should be no questions of reps, because you know how many times reps came into Shedeur didn't get reps with these guys. Dylan got more reps with these guys. No. Training camp day 1, who the hell is QB1? If you want to hold it until then, by all means do it. But you better know before you take one whistle blow before training camp who QB1 is going to be.
I think that is the earliest you could do it. Mm-hmm. I think
I agree with that.
Any later than that, I think is still okay. What do you think?
I'm in lockstep with Zay, actually, and I think day 1 of training camp. And my thing is, I grew up with a hockey background, right? And they always tell you if you have 2 goalies, you have no goalies, right? Yep. I think, and you don't even have to say, hey, on August 10th or whatever, Shedeur Sanders is starting week 1. You just come out and say Shedeur's QB1. As of right now, as of today, if they added a game to our schedule, Shedeur's starting quarterback tomorrow. That could change. We have a full entire camp. Beautiful. Things happen in sports, but if the season started today, he's QB1. I think that just so much, not even just reps, but the mental, there's something about we're all, I mean, you guys were athletes. I stopped playing like 15 years ago. I was scared of the ball, man. But like you want the faith in whatever you do in life of being, okay, they believe in me. I'm the guy. It's time to go, right? Like, I think just giving that vote of confidence to whoever it is, whether it's Shedeur or Deshaun from the start, I think it makes camp a lot easier. I think roles are more defined. I think that any time in life, any scenario you're in, the more clear things are, it creates a better, more healthy environment. I think even it gives Deshaun, for example, if he's the backup, the ammo he might need to maybe be motivated to go win football games, because maybe making $230 million, he can go sit on a yacht,
Or motivated. I mean, what leverage would Deshaun Watson have in this situation? But maybe if he wants out, like, I'm not going to even give.
Good luck, brother.
Yeah, that I think could also become a conversation. I don't know if you guys caught this. I think we've all just been operating under the assumption that it's Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson competing for the quarterback one job.
It is.
Yes, but there was no physical statement from Todd Monken prior to, I think, 2 days ago, of him saying Shedeur and Deshaun. So officially, it is those two guys.
Well, he just said two quarterbacks, right?
No, he for the first
time.
Oh, he did?
Said no, Dylan, no.
But that brings me to what I want to talk about. What do you even do with Dylan Gabriel and Taylor Green at this point?
You call up the one, but hey, Kev, your number still work. Hey, you still got the 216 area code. Yeah, it's Barry. Give me a sixth. Come on, call it a day.
It's your guy, right?
Give me a sixth. This your guy. I mean, you got Tua Tagovailoa backing them up, right behind them, lefty.
Listen, Tua could start.
I think Tua is gonna start.
I don't think he is if Michael Penix is healthy, but I think he could.
Listen, we've seen Kevin Stefanski do wilder shit.
Yeah.
And Kevin knows what he wants sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that if he's trying to win games off the bat without someone going off the rails, I think Michael Penix may be a little bit too much of a wild card for him.
I think he is a wild card.
And Tua Tagovailoa is going to play that thing just like how he wants to. And I think that, dare I say that Tua could be his saving grace. Tua could be his saving grace.
I think
because here's why. Here's why though.
Or his lifetime contract as an offensive coordinator for
You're
his
right.
coaching tenure.
But you look at Tua's history, right? And then you look at Kevin Stefanski's history. Tua played phenomenal on time. And Kevin Stefanski's never really had a quarterback that can play on time. You've had Baker Mayfield, who's a wild card. You've got P.J. Walker, who was just trying to get through.
XFL
You had
legend.
DTR, who was thrown in a week before and said, hey, you're starting today, bud. Sorry you didn't know. You've had Deshaun Watson, who couldn't stay healthy, who played better off schedule. Shedeur, off schedule. Flacco, off schedule.
Yeah, Flacco's a wild card, too.
Every single quarterback that we have seen with Kevin Stefanski is an off-schedule quarterback. Tua is not. So
neither is Dylan Gabriel.
And neither is Dylan. And Dylan, here's the one thing I'll say about Dylan. If we didn't have Shedeur Sanders, I could almost guarantee you, because I know how Browns fans are, because I'm one of them, we would be backing Dylan Gabriel harder than any quarterback we've ever seen, because we love an underdog story more than anyone. And he fits every underdog story bill that there is. And we've got the shadow of Shedeur over him. The dude can throw the ball. Like, I want to know why we didn't see the Dylan we saw from college in the first however many games he played, because it looked like he was being hindered. Like, I watched clip after clip after clip of Dylan dropping 30, 40-yard bombs right into the bucket of receivers in college, and we didn't get a sliver of that in the NFL. So maybe that was Stefanski having a leash on him.
It was, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think from that lens, from not taking the wrist down and looking at it, if we didn't have our wrist up, Dylan would be beloved in this city.
I think also, too, with him, I think it's more so just, I don't think he's going to get any reps. I think you hope he goes out there and puts out like a halfway decent preseason game and you can flip him off for whatever you got. But at the same time, if you just got him sitting around in camp, right? And you're like, what are we gonna do with this guy? You're like, as we said, like, they don't have a friggin' number for him half the time. You just got Baker's number, I guess.
Yeah.
You talked about needing a slot cornerback. You don't need to be that tall. You spent a third round pick on him. I mean, just set him out there on defense once or twice. Get some use out of him.
Oh my god.
Let the guy on the field a little bit.
That whole number thing was crazy. That was crazy because
have you seen Major League 2?
Yeah.
The people out there will get it. Like the scene where Roger Dorn comes in as the pinch hitter and he gets hit, right? And he's like, I'm not coming out of the game. So he's like in at first base and like they bring out the pinch runner and they're both like at the first base at the same time, like stretching and like getting ready to run the bases. It's like that was Verse and Dylan with 8. Like they both were aware. Like they're both like, no, my number. This is so funny.
That's what I think the public perceived. you listen to Jared Verse talk to Nathan Zegura, and he's like, yeah, we agreed on a number. It's seniority, even if it's by a year, and it's Jared Verse literally being a better football player than Dillon Gabriel. Again, you do that. You negotiate with cash. I was looking at the list of Browns numbers. I mean, there's some guys who were numbered 1 through 19 that might not be on the roster come whenever the cut date is, end of August, August 30th, whatever it is. But, like, it was 6 that was available,
Baker.
and 14. 14's retired.
Autogram. Yeah.
So it's like there literally aren't a lot of numbers. And you can have duplicate numbers prior to, I believe, the 53-man cut.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, I mean, he's on – well, I shouldn't say he's on the outskirts. He's going to get shipped off because we really don't know. But you have Taylon Green, this project, this specimen of an athlete that fits the build compared to the two quarterbacks that Todd Monken really likes, and will start one of the two, compared to Dillon Gabriel, who's undersized, is a lefty, and I think plays a different brand of football, like we just talked about. He's more on schedule. Deshaun is not. I think Shedeur can be, but he's not. And then Taylon Green's definitely not.
If there's one thing we could say about Dillon, the guy is a true professional, right? Like, it don't get no more professional than what Dillon Gabriel has to display. You have no voice in the media, right? You've only been talked about, I mean, in a negative light from the second you've become a starter in this league, or even drafted, because after Deshaun or Shedeur was drafted, and he's just ate every shot. Like, if anything, we know Dillon's got a tough chin.
Yes.
Because it is we saw Johnny Manziel fold in this city. We've seen plenty of players fold in this city. So if there's one thing, you got to tip your hat off to that man Dillon for having a tough chin. And maybe he finds his stride somewhere. Unfortunately, it's probably not here.
I think that Falcons trade could very much become a thing if, like you said, Jack, let's say he puts up a decent performance in the preseason, or Michael Penix is not as far along in his rehab as the Falcons want him to be. Maybe they got to put him on IR to start the season. There's a lot of variables that could play in it, and that's what I think makes training camp and that month and a half leading up to the season so interesting, is because everybody walks into training camp thinking this is our roster, this is how we're going to go about our business, and football is a violent game. Injuries come up. The Browns traded Kenny Pickett last season, and Kenny Pickett got injured, actually.
And
so
we
the
all
two
knew
things.
it.
But the thing is, we sat here and talked a bunch about Kenny Pickett potentially starting for the Browns.
He was probably the odds-on favorite this time last year,
right?
right?
The video that we did for BTS, how many games? I think we were all
Yeah,
wrong.
we were definitely all wrong.
Everyone was wrong. He didn't even take a snap.
Season tickets to Kennywood. We didn't even go once.
And it was like, we're like, oh, that's the Fancy's guy. I can play on time, blah, blah, all this stuff. We said the same things last year, and then he got hurt and never really had the true chance when healthy. Well, I do think he got hurt.
Flacco came in there, and all of a sudden, everybody started getting injured. Listen. There were probably some merit to it.
No, I think there's definitely
he
merit
definitely
to
was probably hurt.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. When Flacco came into that thing, there was you couldn't feed anyone that Kenny Pickett was going to start over him. You don't bring Flacco back if he was not.
Listen,
going to be
I agree.
starter.
I agree with you, and I think he probably would have won that battle over Kenny Pickett. But at the same time, like Flacco's our guy. They traded him. What week did they trade?
I still
him?
can't believe they had 4 or 5.
But they
I
had
still
to
can't believe they
trade
had
him,
4
though.
quarterbacks.
They had to trade
Well,
him.
Dillon started the Pittsburgh game, and that was what, week 5? Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you had to see
6, but yes,
because they
he started
wasted
Minnesota.
I mean, looking back at it now, though, there's a reason why Kevin everything happened the way that it is. Kevin literally was at the poker table, like, fuck. Do I use this draw for now? Or do I go reverse it back to me? Okay, now do I go
the Uno table.
Joe Flacco's the reverse. Uno table. Joe Flacco was the reverse to bring back because we're trying to get 2023. Then he tried to skip Kenny Pickett and he went right to Dillon Gabriel, worth it 100 overall or 100th pick in the draft. So now we're gonna draw 4 with freaking Shedeur Sanders, and it's like nothing's freaking working right now. And I think that Dillon. What were we talking about again? I know we talking about Uno. I just got off the rails talking about Uno.
I mentioned trading Flacco and him.
It was some deep
him-
Uno strat right there. You don't get that everywhere.
The multi-year plan, if there was a multi-year plan with Flacco, you work out, you extend him a year.
There was never a long plan, I think, now, though.
I think hindsight, it's easy to say that. But I think we also walked into last season looking at how good the Browns' defense was and walked into week 1 where you're a kick away from beating the Bengals. And we're like, okay, maybe this team has something. You beat the Packers in week 3. We were one of the best. Like, there was absolutely a little bit of hope at the beginning of the season. I think the Ravens game definitely capped the ceiling of what that hope could look like. But
that was such a bad game.
Like, if there was a long-term plan, it was definitely cut off really, really early. And I find it hard to believe that the Browns truly viewed Flacco as their guy moving forward because they were so quick to move off.
Well, I think they even communicated. I think that was like kind of the start of the split, or like the schism, I guess, between AB and Kevin, because he, like, if you guys remember, like, Kevin came out when they traded Flacco and he was like, yeah, like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
You know, like that's it. Usually you'd think your head coach would know if his starting quarterback and captain was getting dealt by week 6 or whatever.
I think that the long-term plan was cut short. The second Shador was drafted, any long-term plan was officially out the window. You cut.
Didn't
that
they bring
window,
in Flacco after the draft though?
But here's why I'm going with that, because you already cut that. You already made a move by saying that Dylan was my guy in the 3rd round. So that would have been the cutoff line there. That would have been your window to extend it if Dylan was the guy. But the second you go Dylan, then Shador, then Flacco, any long-term vision is out of the window now, because Flacco's either going to be your saver, right? And he wasn't, so they shipped his ass out. And you weren't going to play Shador before you played Dylan.
Yeah.
So you had to see Dylan Gabriel for what it was. And everyone, we talked about it for months straight, Shador being a projected number 1 or a first-round pick, falls to the fifth. So you got to see what the lottery ticket is. And then, oh, by the way, Arch Manning is going to be in draft 2027. There was a lot of fast forward, or time that was being fast forwarded, because you had to see what that looked like. So I don't think there was anything longer than 2027. That would have been his cutoff regardless.
Yeah, I think 2 years would have been his cutoff. That's fair.
What would we do in Cleveland if we had a quarterback and didn't have to talk
Win.
about quarterbacks?
We'd be winning.
Like, even Baker, the whole time Baker was here, it's like, oh, will Baker ever be good enough to get you there? Like, I mean,
And
like,
now trying to talk about
when
I think that'll be a conversation in NFL world, because the quarterback position is so easy to criticize, and it's the most notorious position. You have the ball in your hands every time you're on offense, and you can relate it to wins, even though it's not a quarterback, or wins aren't a quarterback stat. So I think regardless of your team, unless you have Patrick Mahomes, there's nobody else at this point. You're not going to talk about quarterback. It's the reality of, like, even think about the Bills. Is Josh Allen ever good enough to win you a Super Bowl? Same with Lamar Jackson. Same with Joe Burrow. Although I do think defense comes into play more with Burrow than anybody else.
Burrow was a sack away from winning that thing. Thank God the Bengals didn't win. They are I think they're the most obnoxious fan base in the AFC North.
Really? In the AFC North?
Listen,
Ooh,
I
disagree.
know that's crazy. No, I think Steelers are number 1. I think they're number 1, right?
Most obnoxious?
Just the most annoying. I hate their fan base is the most annoying.
Okay.
By far. It's not even close, honestly. No, it is close. The Bengals, since 2020, they think that they are God's gift to green. Like, they think that
It's the Burrow, yeah.
if we just stay home, we got these high power cool. You've got an offense that can put up 33 points per game, but your defense gives up 34 points per game, and you guys can't figure it out. Like, if they win, oh my gosh, we are never they never hear the end of 2020. We will never hear the end of it. Even 50 years from now, they'll be talking about that Joe Burrow guy really won that. Like, they're the most obnoxious fan base right now.
I will say,
they're spoiled.
Even as a Notre Dame fan, I don't think I've ever seen someone parade a runner-up trophy around more than the Cincinnati Bengals.
Fair. that I agree with. I also
they almost had a friggin' parade.
I do think if the Browns,
we had a parade.
I think it'd be different if. Well, I don't know if it'd be different. Let's say the Browns make a Super Bowl and lose, but with the Bengals potentially winning a Super Bowl, hearing about it 50 years down the line, I think Browns fans would be the same way.
Oh, we
actually probably would have had a parade if we lost the Super Bowl.
You think so?
I mean, in '95 we had a parade when the Indians broke the 40-year pennant drought. They lost in 6 in the World Series. They had a parade in Cleveland.
It wouldn't have been after we would have had if you go that route, it would have been before the Super Bowl. They would have done something before. They wouldn't have done it after.
Yeah.
I mean, we did do a parade 0-16 in freezing cold weather. That day was wild. But I don't think that they would. Browns fans aren't that.
I would hope for a parade at least. I would hope not. But I don't know.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you.
Honestly, I've had good experiences with Bengals fans. I think you're right about the 2020, 2021 year, whenever that was, and it's held up on a podium because it's what the Bengals got recently, and it was a fun year for them. But I don't know. I've had.
Where'd you guys sit on Skyline?
I
like Skyline.
I've never had it. I'll give you a test. You want to say something bad about the Bengals and just watch. Okay. Just watch how they come out and they talk, and then if it doesn't work, just hit Joe Burrow, hit 2020. Yeah. Say something about the division stuff, and you'll see what I mean. Because once they get on your timeline once, it's over with. They're like they're like little rats. They're just humping anything.
Vermin.
You're more centric in the AFC North. I think I'm more general NFL.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you think the Bengals fan base is the worst in terms of replies like that? AFC North wise.
I think you can tier it. I think the Bengals are the worst in terms of they try to make you feel it more than other fan bases. I think the Steelers think that they're so much better than everyone else that they almost feel sympathy for you. So they play the sympathy card, you feel bad for you.
Yeah.
And I think the Ravens really, unless we say something about them, they're not going to go out their way to say anything about us.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's kind of the drift I get from it. But when you do say something about the Ravens, it's one of those things where it's like big bruh is just like little bruh, you little bruh. Just
I was going to say, I feel like that's kind of where it comes from too, is I feel like the Steelers, even because I know a ton of Steelers fans, I feel like they don't really, not that they don't care about the Browns, but they look forward at the Ravens games more than the Browns games,
for
sure.
sure.
Being honest, right? I think Bengals fans, it's just because we're both kind of like the
little
ugly little redheaded stepchilds who fight for the basement every year, and you're just trying to get the last scraps on the table, you know?
When I was in Pittsburgh, I talked to a ton of Steelers fans, and I asked them all the same question. I'm like, where do you guys rank the hate for Browns fans? And to my surprise, bro, where do you think they had them ranked?
Third.
Last as in what?
Because they had the battles with Vontaze Burfict, and I would bet they hate us the least.
Hate the Browns.
There's teams that they hate more than us that aren't even in the division.
The Patriots probably.
The Patriots.
They probably get up for the
I
Patriots
think
more than us.
was number 3 consensus. Ooh. So it was Baltimore was number 1 on their list. I think the Bengals slowly were creeping up, but the Patriots were number 2 on that list. I think they were even. No, not the Colts. I think not the Chiefs. Definitely. Who's the other guys that I'm thinking of?
Maybe they lost to Jacksonville in the playoffs.
Oh, the Calais Campbell, Saxonville. That was such a dope defense.
5 or 6 teams that they put before. I'm like, so 7? I'm like, and he's like, we just don't look at y'all as a threat. Yeah. He's like, you guys don't win. It's like all the teams that are above you are teams that we hate because they beat us, or you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm like, so if we start winning, you think it'll rekindle? He was like, yeah, but it's not happening. They don't have no belief that we can mess with them.
I think Steelers fans say that, and then the Browns beat them, and it's a completely different animal.
They respect us, though. That's one thing I think.
That's the one thing I don't think.
No, see, maybe it's just because of the Steelers fans that are in my comment section.
Maybe, yeah.
There are a group of Steelers fans that genuinely respect what we're doing now, and I think it took the last year's draft and now this year's draft. And we're slowly gaining it, and we're one sweep away. We sweep their ass this year, which is the perfect year because you get 2 weeks on the road. You come home to the Panthers week 3.
Yep.
Then you got Thursday night football.
Yeah.
It's magical. Hey, what's it? Orlando Studios and Disney World can't even touch what Thursday night football is here in Cleveland.
Cool. I'm very excited.
This could be the year that they sweep, and I think if we can sweep the Steelers, put some respect on our name. I ain't gonna talk about no more that Birdman, that RV. We need 10.
10 wins. That's a lot of wins. I don't know. I'm with you though. I think the hate for the Browns fans from Steelers fans comes from a place, or the lack of hate, not the hate. Comes from a place of we see what you guys are doing. You're kind of always be down there.
I will say, honestly, I could be wrong with this. I think the most flack we get from the Ravens and the Steelers, not necessarily the Bengals, is just the Deshaun signing. I think that's what they'll come at us for the most, or trade rather, but...
It's low-hanging fruit at this point.
No, it is. And especially if you played Big Ben, I would say, but...
Yeah, it's funny. That was, honestly, it was TJ Watt over Myles Garrett until the last couple of years.
The TJ Betta arguments?
He's not even... Again, the same stratosphere.
Nothing they're not used to.
I don't know. Maybe we'll start up a TJ Watt, Jared Verse debate up here. We also didn't talk about it. The Steelers extended Nate Herbig,
the most expensive backup.
Backup. He'll play 70% of the snaps, but he's damn good player. My question remains, though, what happens with Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, or both? I think you could come to a halt at week 6 or week 7 if you're the Steelers. You won 2 games and you got to ship one of those guys off.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might be in the same boat as Delpit.
Yeah.
Would you be opposed?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. That's not happening.
And
No,
what
no, no,
army?
no, no, listen,
And what army?
No, where you think I'm going?
Trading
one
for
of those
TJ
guys?
Watt?
Yeah.
No, not close.
What?
But no. Would you welcome Myles Garrett back into the AFC North if it meant
We
he
get the
was
first.
at the
We get a
back
first,
end?
right?
We get the
You get an extra
first.
first
We
round
get the
pick.
first round pick, and they get rid of.
I mean, yeah, just run a
Smith
halfback counter
and
away from
Watt or
him.
whatever, and he's what 35 at
30,
that point,
yeah.
34 at that
Mid-30s.
point. Like, would you welcome in a back end Myles Garrett?
I will
2
say
two
that
times
that
a
would
year?
be like, not that he would be like thought of in the same way as like when LeBron returned for the first time in Miami, because like Miles is a weight, he's probably beloved way more than LeBron was at that time. But that would be such a cool storyline.
would
Like
be
it's gonna be
crazy.
like, well, Baker goes to Tampa. That game's in Tampa, right, against the Bucks.
Yep.
Yes.
The first time, I was gonna say that, and the first time Baker's back here, whenever that happens, those will be like huge games.
Well, I've seen stuff thrown around that Baker's going to come back to the Browns after his contract. So I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I called the media out for that dumbass.
CJ Carr before him.
Bro, why are we
Listen,
talking about Baker coming back? Dude is still on that, like, whether he needs a contract extension or not, he's still under contract as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. We haven't even played a snap of the 2026 season. What the hell are we doing?
I think that contract
We got a 6
situation
at
in
home.
Tampa Bay could get very ugly.
Oh,
Very
it probably
ugly.
will be because this isn't an, like, I'm still right. Remember we had that conversation, and I'm so glad that I'm about to victory pose this because y'all sat up here and tried to gaslight me that Baker Mayfield was a top 5 quarterback and all of this shit. I'm like, bro, Baker Mayfield's not a top 5 quarterback. He will never
Who said he
be
was?
a top.
I didn't
Oh,
say
that
that.
stretch of football. Whoever, I don't remember who it was, but I was gaslit for that first 6 weeks of football. Baker Mayfield. Oh man, Baker Mayfield's a top 5 quarterback in the league. He might be the best right now. And I'm like, y'all need to chill. This is not. Baker's not that.
Snowmen melt eventually.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of us knew.
Baker Mayfield has, which is why when I couldn't ride with the wheels no more, I had to let him go. He's only gonna be, his ceiling is top 10. If you get him at top 10, that is the best version of Baker that you will ever get. And I think Tampa Bay got that. We got that in 2020. There is no other ceiling. There is no top 5. There is no top 8. It's top 10. That 10 is his marker. And I think if you're gonna are you giving $55 million a year to a top 15 quarterback on average? Top 17 quarterback on average? Probably. But if you're the Browns, do you want to pay that much money for a guy who's just middle of the pack? Like,
After you just got off a $1,900 billion contract
I
at
don't
quarterback
see-
and had to adjust so much cap space.
Baker's gonna get paid.
Yeah.
But the money that
Where
he's
is the
asking
question?
for, exactly. Who's gonna be the one to give it to him, knowing that Baker Mayfield's never gonna
How's
be
Carolina's
top
cap
5?
space? Like if Bryce has a bad
He
year.
ain't going back
Well,
there.
I think he's not going back there. I think Bryce Young. I'm with you. I think that could be a huge discussion point. You know where I think Baker Mayfield could wind up if it gets really, really ugly in Tampa Bay, though? The Pittsburgh Steelers.
I seen that too. That would fit.
And he
his
would win a
MO.
Super Bowl. There.
yeah.
He would just have to.
Top
That's just
15
how the
could
world
work there.
works. Yeah.
Yeah,
15 could
I'm
work
trying to think of other teams. I know. You said
Imagine if
Indy.
Mike McCarthy's bumbling ass won a Super. Oh.
What do we think about the whole situation up there in Minnesota though? Like all reports, Kyler Murray looks like a damn bust
I don't know.
right now.
What? I have not seen any of that.
I believe it was so that one comment section or that one day that he came out and had the press conference where he talked about the reps or he
Yeah.
talked about being behind. I seen a reporter or someone talk about from Minnesota say that same day the first 2 passes he threw were interceptions.
He's just knocking the rust off.
It's not gonna
Listen,
I
think Kyler. I think Minnesota could win that division. I think Kyler's gonna be awesome. I'm a believer in that team.
What about 9? What do you think happens to his career from this point on?
We're gonna have to find somebody who really believes in him. Well, Jim Harbaugh.
Bring him as a backup?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or well, I mean, I feel like I've seen stuff before. Like if Herbert, like if the Chargers have a disappointing year like that.
I think J.J. McCarthy would come in as a backup, but backups are needed in this league. And Justin Herbert was injured last year a little bit, but was playing behind an offensive line that was really bad. Granted, that line was also
Yeah, Slater and
super,
Allround, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if that happens again, I mean, yeah, backups matter. Backups really matter.
Mandatory minicamp. Quarterback tracker has been updated today. Would you guys like the stats?
Honestly, not really, but read them.
Okay, we've got Taylor Green.
0 for 0 yards.
Ding, ding,
My
ding,
boy.
ding, ding, ding. Dylan Gabriel.
Can we guess all of them? Oh, okay.
What are we doing today? Are they tapped in? What are they doing?
Is it today?
Today.
Today's stats?
2 for 4.
3 for 7.
5 for 6 and a tutty.
Let's go. Look at that.
Deshaun Watson.
Is the 6 back up? Oh, Deshaun, over.
Cooking.
Uh-oh.
14 of 18, 2 tutties.
Oh,
And
wow.
Shador went 10 of 13, 0 touchdowns. And Todd Monken says
Is the defense
he's
out
not
there yet?
worried. To the thing, he says Todd Monken said he's not worried about naming a starting quarterback entering training camp.
Good.
Because he's comfortable. He's been pleased with the progress of Deshaun and Shador. So we just talked about it earlier in the show, saying that I think we should have it before training camp. We're not going to get it. They're going to hold it off as long as they possibly can.
They should. They absolutely should.
And you know why they should? Because it goes right into the 10-win scenario. We are going to shock so many teams this year by popping them in the mouth because no one thinks that our offense is going to do anything. And I keep trying to tell people, just like I told Jarvis, 15.8 per game it's hard to do that. Like, you got to try really hard not to score 15.8 points per game. And he's like, you could go worse.
Job.
You could. But unfortunately, we got a guy on who is fully offense in Todd Monken. You retooled everything on the offensive line, brought in new weapons. If you go 15.8 points per game, Todd Monken needs to be fired the second the season ends.
Yeah, I don't think.
And it's not happening.
Yeah, I don't think they will. But we wait to see. Obviously, mandatory minicamp finishing up. Not too much going on the next couple weeks. Kind of entering the dead period of the NFL.
When are
Still
we
got the
getting
guards to talk about. Still got the Cavs.
Sonny and Berea? When are we getting that back?
We can start that next week.
Next week? Okay.
Yeah, we can start that next week.
I'm
But
missing it.
We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you listening. Zay, take us home.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.